What is going on, guys? Jack here, and welcome back to another Football Manager 2019 video. And today we're going to be looking at the best Wonderkid defenders available in the game. Of course, this part of my player shortlist series. If you want to get this file, you can get it off the Steam Workshop. I've shown it in the previous videos. I encourage you to go check it out and see the other videos if you want to know how to get this directly. There'll also be a link down in the description which you can go to and click and subscribe there. If you do enjoy this file, rate it on the Steam Workshop, favourite it. It helps push it to more people. It helps expose the channel to a bit more in the way of new FM players stumbling across my content. And it is hugely, hugely appreciated. But anyway, we are going to today go through the defenders in the game, as you can see here. The most valuable players, unsurprisingly, again, they're all Premier League players. That's kind of the way with these Wonderkids videos. You know, a lot of the younger players are just very overpaid in kind of football terms, I guess, in the Premier League, and as a result their values are higher. I will say of these players, I think Trent Alexander-Arnold is the standout man, the natural right back, just an incredible player in real world football. Whether or not you're going to be able to sign him from Liverpool remains to be seen, but he is extremely, extremely gifted. Besides him, of course, you've got a few other players. Declan Rice, we talked about in our midfielders shortlist. Ryan Sessegnon, extremely talented player. Perhaps not necessarily what you'd consider a traditional defender, but he is naturally a left back. As a result, he's in this list as well as in the attacker list, which is a little unusual for a player not to be in my midfielders shortlist and be in the attacker and defender one. But yes, the Wonderkid, extremely talented at both ends of the pitch, one of the best left backs in the game. You can see here a few other players. Issa Diop, 21 years old, playing for West Ham United, extremely good in the air. Him. Wan-Bissaka, fantasy football fans will be a big fan of this guy. He looks solid in FM this year, only 20 years old, still room for improvement. Outside the Premier League, one of the best players, Kieran Tierney, very frequently is signed within the first summer transfer window. I recommend that you go and sign him for yourself if you have the money to and you're one of the big clubs. Has absolutely insane mentals, great leadership qualities as well, could definitely be a captain long term of a team. And yes, certainly a player being aware of. Of course, these are looking at the more valuable players. If we just flip things around here, and let's set the maximum age to 18, just to look at some of the other Wonderkids here outside of the players we've already talked about. Players like De Ligt on the thumbnail of this video, probably the best young centre-back in world football, playing for Ajax, 18 years young, probably, yeah, I'd say he's the best Wonderkid defender. If you disagree, let me know who you'd have ahead of him in your list. But yes, a tremendous ball-playing centre-back, also capable of playing a more defensive midfielder role. 7 international appearances already for the Netherlands. Going to take a fair bit of money to pry him away from Ajax, but a good player. Also got here Kamara playing for Marseille, only 18 years old, a very, very talented centre-back. Probably going to need to pay a fair bit of money for him, but he's going to be a good one. And while speaking of Frenchmen, we also have Ndika here, who starts the game at Frankfurt. Great jumping ability, good personality of ambitious. That's going to help him with his development. Physically, he is an incredible specimen of a man, especially for a centre-back. Great aerial ability, great pace. Just needs to improve his technicals and his mentals a little, which is perhaps a little easier to do than his physicality. It's kind of, with physicality, it's something you're born with or you're not born with, unfortunately. But stuff like mentals, you'll learn those over time of experience. Technicals, obviously, can be trained in. He is a very, very good player starting the game in Germany. If we continue to look through the list here, I want to look at some of the lesser-known players we have here. Dario Marsic, and this guy, Austrian, starts at Sturm Graz. I mean, you can see here, looking at him, incredible physicals, absolutely nutty. 16 passing, 11 vision, just a fantastic player with the ball at his feet. Only 18 years old as well. Definitely a player worth trying to pick up. Wagnerman, one of the best kind of German fullbacks. Very, very versatile. Can play both fullback areas. Only 17 years old. Hamburger, of course, in the second division at the start of FM this year. Very likely to get promoted first year with the squad they've got, but that might make it slightly easier to pick up Wagnerman if he's the kind of man you're looking for. Going through this list, a few other players we've got here. Todibo, playing for Toulouse. They have some very good young players. 16 first touch. Very good with the ball at his feet, this guy. Other players on this list, we've got here Pedro Porro. I mean, he is a right back, but he can play a variety of different positions here. You can see release clause of only £3.2 million. If you want a more offensive fullback option, he might be a player worth looking into. Definitely not going to be necessarily winning all the defensive battles, but going forward, he's going to make up for that. Juan Miranda playing for Barca B, one of the best left backs in the game this year, only 18 years old, turns into an absolute world superstar. Going through this list, Per Schurz, another centre-back option. Not the best in the air, perhaps better suited to playing the defensive midfielder role or potentially training him as a fullback, although Given his lack of pace, I personally wouldn't play him there, but again, it's kind of down to personal preference. In Turkey, we've got here Ozan Kabak, who starts the game at Galatasaray. A very well-rounded centre-back with a ton of room to improve. Really, really do like the look of him. Centelles here playing for Valencia, 17 or rather 18 years old. Very, very good professional personality, great physicals, technically extremely gifted as well. Markovic here, the best centre-back wonder-kid in the game for me this year. You can't sign him immediately from Partizan, but within 6 months you can pick him up for around £3 million from a Serbian First Division side. He is an extremely talented player who I cannot stress enough. Speaking of talented players, you can see here we've got Rocky Bushiri, who is on loan from Oostende in Belgium. This guy, very, very technically gifted, great in the air as well. I guess when I say technically gifted, I'm talking about 11 passing and 10 first touch, which might seem a little odd, but I do feel like at the age of 18, there's still plenty of room for that to improve, and he could become a great ball-playing defender. Continuing through this list, a few players you might not have heard of. Batella playing for Atlanta, a very good centre-back this year. Perez, another very good centre-back option on loan, of course, from Atleti, playing his games in Argentina. A few players playing for the bigger teams. Bianda here, I believe, made a move recently. Yeah, you can see he left Lens in the second tier of French football to join Roma for £5.5 million. Was good in FM last year. I expect him to be very good again this year. So, also playing for PSG, a few very, very good young French defenders this year, it's fair to say. Going through this list of players you might not have heard of, we have here Wijnaldum, answers on a postcard. Dutch viewers, it happened last time I did one of these videos. I can't deal with Dutch names. They're a challenge. Let's move on. We have here Bindella, a distant relative of Cinderella, but instead of covered in cinders, he was found in bins, playing in the Argentine second division, a player who I believe you will need Argentina loaded to find. But yeah, a player for the future, lots of potential about him. If you're looking for a cheap option, he may well be the man for you. Continuing through this list, there are a few different Argentine players. Some of these younger players that we're now getting towards, they've not got the best current ability, but they really have got some significant potential to continue to improve here, of course. A fair few of them already playing for the big clubs, the likes of Barca, Manchester United, but there are definitely some options in here. And much like the midfielder shortlist, I'd recommend having Portuguese and Portugal leagues loaded at the start of your FM save, because Portugal is very much full of talented young defenders and midfielders you can get for very, very low fees playing in the Portuguese leagues. Continuing to go through these players just so you can have a look, we've got here Cazetta playing for Internacional, if I'm not mistaken. Very, very good physicals, this guy. Only 17 years old. Obviously going to potentially have problems with work permits, but he's worth having on your radar. As we get down here lower, obviously we start to come across the Brazilian youngsters. A fair few of these playing at Santos, players who don't necessarily have the craziest current ability, but you could definitely nurture and develop into good kind of centre-backs and full-backs. And I feel like for the prices you're potentially going to get these players for, some good value for money. Of all the players on this list, this is the man who I'm going to recommend the most. Erik Tobias Sandberg. Norwegian, 18 years old, promising centre-back, valued at £450, yes. You can see he's playing in the Premier Division, plays for Lillestrøm, and yeah, I really like the look of this guy. In terms of his current ability, he is superb. Being from Norway, not going to need a work permit, which is obviously a big, big bonus with this guy. A player who you can definitely pick up for a very small fee. 11 passing, very good mentals just on the whole. Can play ball-playing defender. And yeah, £450 him. I feel like he's a good bit of business. A few other players here you can see playing for Benfica. Got Brito here. Also got Arroyo. Not in the same league, to be honest, as Sandberg, but worth being aware of. Another player playing in the Scandinavian region. We've got here Frederick Norrestrand. You can see here Danish. 16 tackling, very good fullback, to be honest, for his age. Only 16 years old, only valued at 2.2k as well, so players should be able to get fairly cheap. Of course, with these cheaper options, not necessarily going to become future Ballon d'Or winners, particularly as defenders, but they are the kind of players that are going to be able to be developed into first-team options for you without kind of that massive spotlight fee that can sometimes, plague a player. You bring in a player for £10 million at the age of 20, there's this real pressure on them to perform. And I think that does have an impact in Football Manager from my own experience. But anyway, went through some of the players here. Of course, you can check out this shortlist on the Steam Workshop. If you do enjoy the file, do leave a like on it. Make sure to favourite it, of course. Subscribe to it to get access to it to begin with. And yeah, I do hope you've enjoyed the Wonderkids shortlist series. In terms of future videos, I still think I might do one video just going through our complete shortlist. Of course, if you want to see more Wonderkid content, you can check out the Wonderkids playlist. I'll have a link to that down in the description. If you're new to the channel, do subscribe. If you've enjoyed this video, leave a like on it. And other than that, it is me, Jack, and I will talk to you guys in a bit. I'm out.